before, at least by black people, which makes it such, not only it makes it a historical lecture, but it makes it such an important lecture because this is what the final key in which the white man never wanted us to hear. As a matter of fact, every time we tap into a new branch of knowledge, he goes by and surveys it and go, nope, they don't have it yet. That ain't it. When they get it, that's the only time we'll be concerned. And each time it's like, nope. So you got all these so-called people out here claiming to be the Christ, claiming to be this, got all these followers, all these disciplines supposed to be the right ones. But there's one thing that nobody deals with, and that's the powers of evil and the powers of darkness. And that's, and I'm proud to say that I'm one of the few people that's, black people that's an expert on this thing. I've been talking about it for years, but I never did a complete lecture devoted to it. And the reason why I'm doing one devoted to it is because we knew about sometime this summer that about 6 months I was going to come into the full realization of what I've been waiting for the last 4 years. And it's so plain now. Although I knew this particular information for the last 4 or 5 years, it's just that I knew it as data. I knew it as something that you could spit out and you could talk about. And if you can go back through all my lectures, you would have heard me say these things over and over. But the realization of it, it's one thing to know data. It's just like you got children now in the 1st and 2nd grade can read on a college level. Can read. But if you ask them what it means, they couldn't tell you what the hell it meant. So we're talking about, I knew the data and I had a concept of what this was. But we still try to apply things to the Judeo-Christian mode. So even though we tapped into the Egyptian stuff, the Moorish stuff, the advanced Sufism, Islam, everything, we still line everything up with the same way you was taught in Sunday school. You just substituted the names from Christian to Egyptian, and you felt that the Christian thing came from all of the other ancient African or Atlantean disciplines, but you still line the African and the Atlantean disciplines up the same way you line the Christian thing up. There's a good, there's an evil. So you basically have the same scope that you had in Sunday school. You just say the names changed, and it all came from Africa. Well, not only did the white boy plagiarize the names, and partly this has a lot to do with us too. Not only did they plagiarize the names, but also they took the doctrine and turned it totally backwards. So what you call good is actually evil, and what you call evil is actually good. A friend of mine down in Florida named Robert Flowers, his father's a psychic. His father told him in high school years ago, told him in high school in the 70s, or the early 80s, or the late 80s, said, you're going to find out in the future that God is the devil and the devil is God. But it goes even more than that. We got to look at the supreme evil and try to understand some things on that. Now, to access this, there's here's some information here that I had to go and pay damn near $16, $17 for this particular information. It's only 4 pages. Damn near $17. Although the book has a whole lot of how to do the rituals and stuff, but as far as the philosophy, it's only 4 pages. Now this guy that put this out, put out another workbook on different magic with Crawley and all the Gotia and other systems, and he put out that particular book in 1994, and it was picked up by Samuel Weiser. I met this white boy because I ordered a book from him for $75, an out-of-print book, and he's down in Florida. Anyway, he put out his book in the fall of 1994, some magical workbook. when it came time to deal with his more demonic philosophy or the dark philosophy, Samuel Weiser didn't pick it up. Samuel Weiser now has gone into literally taking all of the dark stuff out of the shelves and out of their catalogs. You know, they closed down their store in 1995. So to access this book, he had to go and get some company, a Shaitan Press out of Chicago, to get the book printed. But the book, it was interesting because I said, well, hell, when I saw the book, it had a whole lot of magical spells and all this, and I said, well, I got all this in several books. And one white boy mentioned to me, he said, well, you know, I said, but I just want to get the philosophy. I don't want the magic. I said, because the magic I'm dealing with now is an understanding, and my melanin will already line up. Because I have melanin, I don't have to do the practical application. The only thing I got to do is line up the actual melanin in an alchemical sequence through thought, programming the computer. So I said, I want to know the philosophy. I want to know the intellectual side, because I'm a right-brain person. In the point that by me being an artist and growing up, I used to be a dancer, an artist, and I was trained in the arts. So therefore, that's more right brain, you know, on the feminine energy. Then, you know, your left brain is all your analytical. I said, so because of the first 30 years of my life, I was trained in the arts. This particular part should be analytical. That's why I'm more analytical now, and it lines up. Now, a person that was analytical in the first part of their life, they need to somehow go towards the spiritual part, or what you call the intuition, as the female intuition, as they say it, or the more of the sensory side, more than sensitive. So women should become more analytical, and men should become more sensorized, left brain, tapping into the inner God. So he said, well, based on what I know, these four pages is some of the greatest pages I know written on this particular subject, other than the old Victorian stuff on this whole demon type thing. So I left the book. So no, what happened was I ended up leaving the store because another white boy talked me out of it. Said, well, you know, you're not going to get anything. So when he talked me out, and he talked me out of it. I went to another store to look at another particular book, and the book was not what I thought it was. Anyway, the Spirit said, go back and get the book. We know it's 4 pages, but go back and get the book. And I came back and said, look, the Spirit told me to get the goddamn book. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Anyway, when I broke the sequence, even the white boys probably didn't know. But what they called demons was actually, when you really look at what they was talking about, it was actually just talking about black people. So I'm going to get into this particular part tonight, but what I want to do is I decided to go and access the 4 pages, which is actually 5 pages in all. It's actually 5 pages in all. So I accessed the 5 pages because it's probably some of the only stuff written in the country now, because they are actually taking this stuff out of the market. So I would urge you to get this particular information that I'm giving you tonight. I accessed the 5 pages, and so 5 pages, $5. But still yet, for the people that need this, I think you need to get this for the simple fact, don't sleep on it. That's what you got to do. Now you can't sleep on it for real now, because when I get into the lecture, they are now starting to wipe out all the dark stuff. So you can get stuff light. Take, for instance, Garland of Letters. When I came down in 94, they had a good little magic section. And since then, they have gotten rid of basically the magic section, moved it on the bottom shelf, and basically what you got is a lot of crystals, a lot of Enya type spiritual light shit, but none of your dark stuff. And that is the reason, when we're going to get into tonight, that's a reason, that is a reason for this. So I would suggest that you get this particular information. Not that I'm trying to make a sale, but I just feel that I access some stuff for you. So these particular 4 pages coming from Chicago is some very interesting information, and I think you're going to need this to try to understand the concept of demonology we're dealing with tonight. So I think the name of this lecture would be, it would be called The Darkside, or no, it would be called the shadow realm. Lessons in the dark side. The shadow realm, lessons in the dark side is the name of this particular lecture. So when I get into this and all, for the people that want to get this particular information, I think you need to get it. You want to get it now, we can get it during the break. I guess we'll get it during the break. What you want it now, you want to wait till the break? When we wait till the break, for the people, you need to get this particular information. The other part here is Nyarlathotep summoning the Cthulhu dream work. Now, what this is actually dealing with here, if anybody, I might go into a little bit of it tomorrow, but Nyarlathotep is the black man of the Necronomicon. It is saying that the Necronomicon forces are spiritual entities, but they only line up within the black man. So therefore, there's a ritual summoning the Cthulhu dream work, and the Cthulhu dream work is not talking about nothing but lining up the melanin. And we have an actual ritual here to that too. So I would urge you to get this particular ritual also when we go into the particular information. I would urge you to get that too. I'd urge you to get that too. So y'all distracting this shit out, man. What we're going to do is, tonight we're not dealing with the daytime gods. We're not dealing with the gods that has been on top of the ground, the ones that's been around while we've been suffering. We're going to deal with the gods in Tartarus, or the underworld, or the dark shadow realm gods, or what you call chaos beings, because we are above the gods. That's the first thing we need to understand. We are above the gods. Fuck the damn gods. The gods sat on their ass while we were down this motherfucker suffering. But the key is, if you understand a damn hourglass, what is up is now down, and what is down is now up. If you turn it upside down. So therefore, we are now on top, and them other motherfuckers is down there. They got to catch the damn suffering. So fuck them. You see what I'm saying? So we're not dealing with the daytime gods, and in the next couple of weeks, we just got to sort out which motherfuckers is the daytime gods that was surfacing the earth while the other motherfuckers was down there suffering. You see what I'm saying? Suffering. We know Amun-Ra is one of them. Check. That motherfucker was one of them. Zeus, and all of that type of thing. And we're going to get into that particular stuff, too. We're going to get into that particular part, too. Because we are right and exact now. So this particular part we're going to be dealing with here, we're going to be dealing with the dark side. We're going to be dealing with advanced demonology, advanced Satanism, which is our shit. The only people that is equipped to even understand this stuff is probably people in this room, a few people in Atlanta, and a few people in New York, and a few advanced people, very few amount of advanced people on the East Coast. We'll say Philly. New York is questionable. You got a few that will deal with it. I know that particular part. I know, because I know one brother that's there that's on it. So we know New York can deal with it. We know Philly can deal with it. We know Atlanta can deal with it, only for the simple fact that they have been going step by step. As far as other people, they're not up to speed. So right now, during the last 4 years, I had to basically hold back some things because I figured that the people weren't up to speed. But right now, we are only interested in the motherfuckers who've been suffering along with this shit and seeing crazy shit go down and been suffering along. We're only interested in the advance now because we can't wait around for the other dead people. As a matter of fact, what we're going to deal with tomorrow, which is called the Alchemy of Hate, we're going to have to kill some of our people. Now, in order to release that spirit, we're not really killing them spiritual-wise, but we're going to have to kill them physically because they will not be able to illuminate because they're so bogged down into the primal matter. So we're going to have to kill a lot of them. This is straight up. We're going to have to take some heads. Why is that? Because for the last 10 years, or at least the last 7 years, the brothers and sisters that have been into some form of consciousness, I don't give a fuck if you Nation of Islam, Rabboni, I don't care if you the Asset Society. I don't care if you First World. We're saying all the brothers and sisters that has been in some form of consciousness when the other black people have rejected it. So now we making a truce even with the nation and all them. Because now we're talking about at least those particular people, when they first got into the branch of whatever they into, and they might not know it now, but when they first got into the branch of whatever they were into, they still wanted a certain change for their people. Now, as we know, we get into groups and egos play, but that's aside. The army is still small. So even when we deal with the Nation of Islam, the Moors, Rabboni, the Asset Society, First World, the Afrocentric movement, the newfound metaphysical movement, all of those particular black people who have been into some form of consciousness, the political movements as far as and people who've been in the struggle for the last 7 years, but over the course of the last 30 years. Those particular people that's been in the struggle and the people who have just rejected this shit flat out, which is the majority of the people. So we're talking about the 5%. You see what I'm saying? Which is now 1% or less than 1%. These people are going to have to take the rest of the motherfucking race out. We're going to deal with that we're going to deal with that tomorrow. But tonight, what we have to deal with, we have to permeate deep into the demon world of Satanism, which is the true powers of the black man and black woman. Now, I'm going ahead of myself right now, but this is very, very important. As a matter of fact, it was so important that when I announced it on the radio, the place in Atlanta was jam-packed, and 30 people had to be turned away last Sunday. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, because we have to I know Atlanta is the spot, and I know Philadelphia, and this is a historical lecture right here in the Philadelphia of the book of Revelation that we got to unmask the false Messiah, Jesus Christ, and we got to kill this motherfucker and give him his second ass whipping tonight. We fucked him up last week, but we got to kill this no good bastard called Jesus Christ, who is the epitome of evil and the enemy of the black people. And we got to go into the history, because we knew the history and we knew that there was a link, but I found the link within the last month or so, and now we have unveiled the false Messiah. And we're going to go into the history of that tonight. You see what I'm saying? We're going to go into the history of that tonight. So what we want to deal with is we're going to deal with pouring the libations to, first of all, the Titans. The Titans, and we're going to go into the history of the Titans. Here's a good little book. It's called The Dark God, Personal Journey Through the Underworld by Nicholas R. Mann. Anyway, this white boy was locked up in prison in 1973, and they took him through a certain journey. They do this to white people so we can get the particular information. So they are actually slaves of AWAS. In here, there's a list of dark gods that we're going to deal with. And the name of this is called Men's Mysteries, Wicca, and Shamanism. Now, why are they saying men's mystery? Because the white boys now are saying that the white women have gone too far with the damn so-called women's lib type thing. At first, it was a legitimate thing because the white man was so ruthless in his patriarchy, in his suppression of the female, until they had to make a certain movement. Over the past 30 years, the movement has gone from the feminist side to the white people. White women are now basically men haters bordering on lesbianism. You see what I'm saying? And some of the sisters is getting caught up in this shit. Well, we don't have no ally with no motherfucking white women in this whole thing, you see. But the key is, so they had to balance that. That's why they say men's mystery, but it has nothing to do with that because it's also dealing with the dark goddess. So this is just one little book, but it has a good list of some particular dark gods we're going to deal with tonight. We're going to pour to tonight. We're going to start off with the Cthulhu spirits. Then we're going to unmask the Titans. But we'll first start off with the most ancient god and most of his form Soot, Ashe, Tyert, Ashe, Newt, Ashe, Tiamat, Ashe, Gaia, Ashe, Apit, Ashe, Layla, Ashe, Sophia, Ashe, Kali, Ashe, Shakti, Ashe, Sheba, Ashe, Cthulhu, Ashe, Yog-Sathos, Ashe, Hestar, Ashe, Azathoth, Ashe, Nyarlathotep, Ashe, Shub-Niggurath, Ashe, Great Old Ones, Ashe, Great Ones, Ashe, Deep Ones, Ashe, Dagon, Ashe, Dogon, Ashe, Ishu, Ashe, Elegba, Ashe. Now let's pour to these particular titans. I want to get those out of the way. Gaia, Ashe, Uranus, Ashe, Kronos, Ashe, Rius, Ashe, Oceanus, Ashe, Titus, Ashe, Hyperion, Ashe, Typhon, Ashe, Menthon, Ashe, Themis, Ashe, Lapius, Ashe, Cosius, Ashe, Crius, Ashe, Phoebe, Ashe, Thea, Ashe, Prometheus, Ashe, Epimetheus, Ashe, Atlas, Ashe, Metis, Ashe. Okay, we deal with a couple of other lists of the dark gods. Then we got enough water. We're gonna pour to the 72 Goetic deities at this particular time. Adonis, Ashe, Attis, Ashe, Dumuzi, Ashe, Tammuz, Ashe, Baal, Ashe, Serenos, Ashe, Sheba, Ashe, Dionysus, Ashe, Math, Ashe, Osir, Ashe, Nepturt, Ashe, Bran, Ashe, Texacapa, Ashe, Odin, Ashe, Goen Nud, Ashe, Wild Herdsman, Ashe, Green Men, Ashe, Wild Men, Ashe, Robin Hood, which is an ancient mythological story, Pan, Ashe, Anpu, Ashe, Mera, Ashe, Yama, Ashe, Ptah, Ashe, Tahuti,